spiel and then I'll solutions.
Oops.
Good afternoon. My name is Marley Stoven. I'm an intern for National Sports Media Association. Today I am joined by Jay Drew. Jay, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me do this today.
Thank you for joining. Okay, for starters, I know you've attended the NSMA Awards weekend. What was your experience like?
Yeah, I've actually been there twice. When it was in um, one was is it Salisbury, North Carolina, years and years ago,
Mhm.
and then most recently, a few years ago, I was at the one there in Winston-Salem, and and I think it's moved since then, or maybe it hasn't. But it was fantastic. I still have really great memories. Charles Barkley was there. He's always a good time. Um, and I mean, I love it. I just love rubbing shoulders with other people that are in our industry and sharing war stories and just experiences. And one of the most memorable things when they had some contest, like a trivia contest, and I was happened to be sitting at the table with a lot of interns, such as yourself and others. And we ended up winning this trivia contest against these other teams that were loaded with veteran reporters and broadcasters and all that. So that's one thing that just sticks out was that was a good time.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like fun. I hope we do that this year. It's actually now
Yeah.
in Greensboro, but yes, we're very
Okay.
looking forward to it. Okay. What first got you into sports writing?
Well, it's kind of a weird story. When I was in high school, I tried out for the basketball team. All my friends were on the basketball team, and I got cut my junior year of high school. The coach knew I loved sports. I loved basketball. So he said, "Why don't you become our team reporter? And you can call the two newspapers." I lived in Salt Lake City. And he said, "Call the two newspapers after every game and give them a little report of the game." And so I started doing that, and I got to know the sports editors at both major Salt Lake City daily newspapers. And so after I graduated from college, I was literally hired by one of those sports editors who still remembered me from the days in high school when I was calling in reports of games. He said I did a reasonable job, I guess. And so that's how I got into it.
Awesome. That
So,
sounds really cool. Where did you
yeah.
attend college?
So I went to the University of Utah. And I graduated way back in 1988. So long time ago. A lot has changed since then, but it was a good school. It prepared me for pretty much what I would do, which is cover almost every sport imaginable, everything from high school sports to rugby to college sports. I did a little bit of Utah Jazz, which was at the time our only major league franchise here in Utah, one of the major four sports franchises. Now we have Utah Mammoth hockey, NHL hockey. So, but it was a good training to learn how to cover a lot of different sports.
Um, so you went to the University of Utah, and then you had your high school experience of the reporting and meeting those guys. What other experiences do you think shaped your path to get you where you are now?
Well, there were several. I think really covering high school sports was a really great experience, and I see nowadays that a lot of newspapers are cutting back or not covering prep sports as much, which I think is a shame. I think it's where you really learn how to develop sources and get on kind of the grassroots level. You learn how to conduct interviews. You learn how to ask questions, the right kind of questions. You learn how to prepare. You, um, a lot of high school sports programs don't have what's called a sports information director, like they do on the college level and like they do in the pros. And so you do a lot of your own research and stat keeping and a lot of things like that, which is awesome training. So all those things kind of laid the groundwork, but just exposing myself to a lot of different sports and a lot of and developing that flexibility is what really helped me, I think, to continue my career.
Great. So my next question was actually, what sport were you mainly focused on, or were there multiple? I know you mentioned you worked with the Jazz, and then you said that you worked with multiple sports, but was there one like in particular that you have worked with the most throughout the past few years?
Well, yeah, that would easily be college football. Since 2008, I've covered BYU football, college and BYU basketball. So the last, whatever that's been, 17 years, I've been primarily, my beat has been BYU football and basketball. I was originally at a newspaper called the Salt Lake Tribune. And then in 2019, I moved over to their competitor, the Deseret News, which is where I am now. And in fact, one of my claims to fame, and I don't know if you guys care about this, is that I won this award, Utah Sportswriter of the Year, twice as a member of the Salt Lake Tribune, and I've won it twice as a member of the Deseret News. I don't know if anybody in the country can say that they've won for two times each for competing out news outlets, but that's kind of, I don't know if it's a claim to fame or if I'm the only one that cares about that, but I think it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's super cool. Congratulations. That's awesome. Sounds like you know what you're doing. Um,
Well, I've been around a while, as you can tell by my receding hairline. And
what was one moment in your career that stands out now, or like your most memorable game that you've covered?
yeah, that's a good question. I've covered a lot and I've been able to cover some pretty major sporting events, but one that stands out is BYU football was playing at Nebraska, sold out crowd there in Lincoln. Um, it was 2014, I think. Anyway, BYU won on a Hail Mary, a last second pass uh, in the end zone. And I was just remember being there. Obviously, I covered BYU, and the whole crowd just went deathly silent as the BYU guy caught the ball. There were a couple of Cornhuskers around him. The BYU kid came down with the ball in the end zone. And what made that memorable is in my headline, a lot of newspaper reporters didn't write their own headlines, but now that the internet is more and online reporting is more common, we wrote our own headlines. And the headline I came up with that day was "Hell yeah!" But instead of HE doubles hockey sticks, I wrote HAIL as in Hail Mary. And so the headline was "Hell yeah" in the front page of the newspaper. And that was just a kind of a memorable. I was pretty proud of that headline to
That's
not,
very
not
clever.
to,
Good
but that
one.
game just stands out. There were all kinds of crazy things that happened in that game, and so if I were to boil it down to one moment, that would probably be it in my career.
Awesome. Okay. Sports media, as we know it, has changed a lot, especially with social media and streaming and other things like that. How does that impact the way you approach your role now in 2026?
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. You know, you throw in podcasts and all that. I mentioned that I graduated from college in 1988. That was before the internet, before cell phones were just becoming a thing. So that was a long time ago. The main thing is just having to reinvent myself over and over again, having to pick up the new technology that's come along. I remember I fought against social media when it first came out. There was this thing called Twitter. And my bosses, everybody said, you got to get on Twitter. And I thought, no, I'm not doing that. But that turned out that's a huge part of our industry right now. And now there's a big wave to do podcasts. Um, but just the fact that I've just been able to be flexible and learn new things. And you know the old saying, can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, if you're not willing to learn new tricks as an old dog like me, you're not going to last in this business.
Right.
And so, and I'm sure, Marley, as you move on and you're going to have to learn new things and develop and be flexible. And if you don't, you're just going to get passed by. So that would be what's kept me in the business, I think, is I've just been willing to reinvent myself and to challenge myself to keep up with the the brilliant young minds that are coming out of college and trained to do all this stuff at a very high level and trying to learn on the fly. And you know, I've lasted this long, so I've done a reasonably good job at it, I would say.
Do you find it difficult to adapt in such a fast-moving industry?
Yeah, very, very much so. I, especially when I try to like pay a lot of attention to my craft. I like to, if I have the time, to go over my articles that I write over and over again, make sure there's no mistakes, try to make them a little bit better. And it's just fast, so fast moving nowadays. You really can't do that as much as I would like. Everyone wants to be first. Everybody wants to have their articles up on online quickly as possible to catch the most eyeballs as possible and build their brand. And so there's a kind of a compromise between doing really, really quality work and really, really fast work. And obviously, in today's day and age, fast work is more important to more people. And so that's kind of an adjustment I've had to make.
That's a very good way to put it. You already shared a lot of insight for someone like me or for others who are trying to break into sports media. What advice would you give them for your current day by day now?
Um, I would say get as good as you can get at writing. Develop that craft and communicating, writing or and even writing for broadcast. The people who can write well will always have a place in this business. So I would just say work on that craft. I mean, there are all kinds of other avenues to explore, video and different things and podcasts and all that. But if you can write well and communicate well, that's the bedrock skill that I think anybody in sports journalism or in journalism, news media, communications, all that. That's the bottom line. And then the other thing you have to embrace AI. I mean, I've kind of pushed against it a little bit, but it's becoming more and more evident to me that AI is going to maybe even threaten our jobs, or or we can use it to empower us and to do our jobs better. And the people who are able, I think, to embrace AI are going to be the ones that thrive.
I was curious about your stance on AI. Like, do you support people using it after they're writing to help them like make good changes to it? Do you support it in the journalism world? I know you kind of have to accept it, but do you support it?
Yeah, I do. I know it's obviously dangerous. You don't want to be relying on it so much that it's doing your work for you. But I think it's a very, very useful tool. Um, at my outlet, we use it a lot with our high school sports coverage, where a coach will call in a few stats and all that, and we'll have AI generate the stories for us. Of course, we will let our readers know that this article was generated by AI. We're very transparent in that aspect. Um, so yeah, I think it's here to stay, and I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that it doesn't take jobs away from journalism. It probably will. I mean, to be totally honest with you, it probably will take some jobs away. But I think the people who can embrace it and work with it, I think it's a powerful tool, and I think the two can coexist. Good journalism and AI can coexist.
Great, thank you. Well, thank you so much. I have no more questions. You've provided a lot of insight and answered very well. Is there anything else you would like to share?
Uh, Not really. I'm just, I'm been in this business 38 years. It's incredibly, incredibly rewarding. Sometimes the pay is good, sometimes it's not. But the people who treat this occupation as um, a love and something they love to do rather than a job will find a lot of happiness and a lot of rewarding experiences in it. So that would be the only advice I would give to young reporters is find something that you love and make a career of it. And journalism can be that thing, but you always have to be improving because if you're not, you're going to get passed by. So yeah,
Great.
thanks for having me today. This
Thank
has
you
been
so
fun.
much. Thank you for meeting with me today.
Okay.
Have a good
Have a
one.
great. Okay. Bye.